How many have you forgiven today? Chapter 13. Broken. Twilight is sitting next to Celestia and Blueblood as the three of them wait for their meals to arrive. Even though she should be ecstatic about eating with the princesses, her thoughts are currently somewhere else. She can't fight the feeling that something major transpired when she was in the dining hall. There's a pain inside of her that she can't explain. Why does she feel like this? There's no logical reason for her to feel the way she does. Sure, she didn't get to talk to the Thestrel that was eating, but it wasn't the end of the world by any means. Yet there's a sense of regret and failure. Perhaps with her studies on gaining Anon's forgiveness, she's also become a bit worrisome over trivial things? It's a thought, but it does little to help.
Twilight?
Twilight flinched slightly as she feels something rest on her withers. She looks over to see the princess giving her a look of concern. Looks like the princess can read her as easily as any open book.
Yes? You seem a bit lost in thoughts. Is something the matter?
Twilight shakes her head.
No, I just feel odd, is all.
Celestia looks at Twilight a bit before accepting her answer. If her student doesn't want to talk about it, then she can't force her. It's not like Twilight is the only one feeling odd today. A small feeling inside of Celestia that she felt before is now in full force. It's a pressure inside of her that she cannot put her hoof on. Should she check to see if Anon is alright? Usually when she gets an odd feeling, it's related to Anon, but she knows that Luna's captain is protecting him. She wouldn't want to undermine her sister's judgments on the matter.
Still, maybe just a quick check couldn't hurt.
Celestia lights her horn slightly and connects with Anon. She instantly doubles over and covers her mouth with a hoof.
Princess?
Twilight shouts as she notices the princess's sudden change. Celestia's eyes are unfocused as she takes a large hit to her psyche. She can feel her body shaking and a great amount of panic and danger filling her. Not to mention she feels like throwing up everything she's ever ate. Her heart hurts so much and her body is on fire. She quickly breaks the connection and tries her best to bury what she feels. It takes her but a moment to return to her normal position and apply her princess mask to hide away the pain. This wouldn't be the first time she needed to act normal in a time of emergency. Everything about her had returned to her normal serene look.
Auntie?
Blueblood looks afraid. Celestia simply looks at him with a gentle smile.
Sorry about that, I haven't been feeling well.
Celestia says.
Just a bit of a tummy ache.
Blueblood isn't too sure about that, but he accepts what his aunt says anyways. Twilight is looking at Celestia, still alarmed. Whatever happens to her had to be serious to make the princess double over like that. She can't help but be concerned about her mentor's well-being.
Do you need to see the doctor?
Celestia shakes her head.
I'm fine.
She then stands up.
I'm sorry to do this, but I just remembered I have to check on a few things.
Blueblood and Twilight are confused by the sudden change.
Are you sure it can't wait?
Twilight asks, and Celestia shakes her head.
Sadly, it cannot.
Celestia rests a hoof on Blue's mane.
We'll do this again, so do not worry. I just need to check on something.
Blueblood understands and gives a nod.
Do you need any help?
Twilight asks.
There's no need, Twilight. I'm sure you and Blue can have a nice meal together. The two of you rarely talk.
Twilight looks over at Blueblood. It's true, Twilight spent most of her time learning when she was a filly, so Blueblood and she never really gotten to know one another. Even after she heard a few things from Rarity that makes her hesitant to get to know him. But yet, why would the princess treat him so well if he's as bad as Rarity says? Perhaps this is a test, to see if Twilight is ready to face Anon. So Twilight won't judge. She'll get to know Blueblood and make her own decision. She agrees. Celestia nods at that.
That's good to hear. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Celestia walks off towards the castle as Blueblood and Twilight give her a wave. Now they're left alone and neither one knows what to say. An uncomfortable silence builds between them for a few minutes as they simply look everywhere but each other's direction.
So,
Blueblood decides to act.
do you like animals?
A simple question, and one that Twilight is grateful for. The silence was starting to become too much for her.
Not as much as my friend Fluttershy, but I do own an owl. You know Fluttershy?
Blueblood asks. Twilight finds herself surprised by how casually Blueblood spoke her name.
Do they know each other? Yes, do you? We talk a lot in the garden. She's very nice.
Twilight finds this entire situation interesting. Something isn't right here. If Blueblood is as bad as her friend made him out to be, then why would Fluttershy spend time with him?
That sounds like Fluttershy. How long have you known each other?
Blueblood asks out of interest. So far, this is going great. Blueblood seems like a good pony, but there's much more that she could learn. If Blueblood is open to hearing her story, then perhaps this is a great opportunity to get to know him as well.
I guess our friendship started when I first came to Ponyville.
Luna is deep in thought as she walks down the hallway of the castle. She's been thinking about what she's going to say to Anon. Just trying to figure out the right words seems like a losing battle for her, something that she isn't used to. She, above all, wants to avoid sharing her memories of that time in her life. She fears how that would come to affect him if she were to do such a thing. It would be best to simply lay herself bare, put all the cards on the table, as the saying goes. Yet she fears what will come of this. Trust is a tree that takes time to grow, but seconds to cut down. If Anon loses trust in Luna, she doesn't know how she'll handle something like that.
Why do you care what the human thinks?
A voice whispers inside of her head.
I thought I told you to never talk to me again.
Luna speaks to herself.
Oh, your thoughts are giving me a headache.
Nightmare Moon mocks.
Well, seeing as it's my mind, I can think about whatever I please. Pointless thoughts is all I see. Forget what that creature thinks.
Luna notices a certain hostility to Nightmare's tone.
It seems that you're in a sour mood.
Nightmare scoffs.
I just find your infatuation with that beast annoying.
Luna grits her teeth at hearing that.
I will say this once, Nightmare. When it comes to what I care for, hold thine tongue, lest you wish to part with it.
Luna threatens. Nightmare gives another scoff, but doesn't say anything else. Luna has no idea what's with Nightmare today. Usually she keeps her silence for the most part. It's just another thing she doesn't understand. Pointless to waste thought on that mare, as Anon is far more important. It then hits Luna like a ton of bricks. She places a hoof to her chest as her heart weighs heavy. The very air itself becomes so thick that one would think it were made of sludge. Something wrong's with Anon. There's no time to lose. She looks over to a corner that has a shadow and quickly runs to it. She needs to find out what's happening with Anon. Blossom is stroking Anon gently as he continues to hold her. He's been like this for a few minutes, but she doesn't have a problem with it. It's almost as if a mother is comforting a child in a way. This reminds her of a time that has long since passed. Before her thoughts take her away, what happens next isn't what she expects. Almost like a light being turned on, Anon suddenly moves away from her and quickly sits in a seat. He moved so fast that Blossom was impressed that he didn't break the sound barrier in doing so. Now she can only stare at him as he looks down at his plate. 1,000-yard stare and a blank expression. Blossom has seen that look on the battlefield many times before. Nothing is said between the two as Anon looks at his plate and Blossom continues to face him. It feels as if an eternity goes by before Anon opens his mouth. "Thank you," Anon says with an emotionally dead tone.
I said I was going to protect you. I never break a promise.
They're left in silence. Anon is stuck in his own mind, trying to sew his sanity back together. Everything that happens just happens too quickly for him to comprehend. It was all normal, and then she showed up. The thought of her sends a chill down his spine. Every time she's near Anon, he doesn't feel like himself. It's almost as if he turns into an animal. He needs to run when she's close. Thinking about it just makes the feeling worse. He needs to calm down before he gets sick. Yet his thoughts start to turn on him, falling into a darker area of his mind. Why is he so weak? Why can't he just be a man? He's pathetic. Being afraid of a pony, needing others to save him. He feels his fists clench as those thoughts take over. They're right, he's weak. If it wasn't for the sisters, he'd probably still be in his home avoiding ponies. They probably think of him as nothing more than a child to take care of. That's why they do it, isn't it? They do it because they pity him. As his thoughts become all-consuming, he feels something settle on the top of his left hand. He looks over to see that Blossom put her hoof on his hand. She's giving him a gentle smile. A smile that reminds him of Celestia. Blossom. She really did come through for him. She said that she was going to protect him, and that's what she did. Even after she was willing to stay to try and calm him down. Anon can feel the darker part of his mind starting to settle. The fact is, Anon has a lot of friends that want nothing more than to see him safe. It's not because they pity him. It's because they actually care. Maybe he's weak, but there are ponies around him that are strong. Humans became great because of their willingness to make groups, and for most of his life, Anon has been alone. So now that he has people that he can depend on, as long as he's with them, then maybe he doesn't have to be afraid. He can feel a smirk grow on his face as he looks down at Blossom's hoof. I know you can't keep your hooves off me, but please keep it in the bedroom. Blossom is thrown off by his comments, but quickly feels a smile on her face.
Well, you can't blame a mare for wanting all of this.
She motions to Anon's entire form. Anon chuckles a bit. Yeah, I guess not. He feels as if everything is back to normal as he looks down at his plate. I'm starved. Blossom agrees.
Yeah, let's eat.
Blossom is frickin' awesome, can crack jokes, and also is loyal to a T. Shit, man, what's not to love, especially of how frickin' rare it is these days. Anywho, let's get on to our unique donators. Top donators are 630, J10Man, Only One Thing, Ceru Orion, and IronSky. Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel Skies, Alistair, Rolan, Stu Hex, Sword Brother and Mordred, Omicron, Lyrae, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Riot Soul, Badass Waffle, Shadow Moon, Luigi88, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.